Hey everyone, welcome to Shed Show Talk. And guess who's on the line? It's Beth. Hey Beth.
Hey Paul, how are you?
Really good. Working
I'm
with
good.
the technology here. We're a little bit late coming on the stream, but we did just have a good 15-minute chat, believing that we were indeed streaming.
I believe we actually solved all of the world's problems.
You know what? We totally did solve all of the world's problems.
Yes.
Um,
Uh, it was a delightful chat. Solved the mystery of the pyramids and all other things. So,
Yeah, we sure did, and it's a shame everybody missed it. But this is part of the process of getting back into our YouTube groove, so to speak.
yeah.
Really interesting video that we released on Sunday.
Oh
Um,
yeah, a lot of fun. It was what was your favorite part of the video? Was
well,
it NASA?
you know what? It was more the actual looking into it. So we'd all seen for so long that um, conspiracy theories had arisen about NASA owning land in the Grand Canyon, and it's something which has taken off so much. So many people are speaking about this. So I think probably my favorite part was actually researching into
Yeah.
what was out there, what information was there that NASA had actually been, if you like, cordoning off land in the
Yes.
Grand Canyon. And there
And
was,
what the mechanism is, like, is it ownership direct, ownership of projects in conjunction with National Park Services, or what is going on there?
well, there are so many theories to that, but I'll tell you from what I found, and I looked on the map and I looked around, and from what I found, a lot of them were American First Nations or American Native tribes. A lot of the land
Hmm.
where they sit over the Canyon tend
Hmm.
to be the First Nations.
Yeah.
So therefore, a lot of the land is completely off limits as a result of them not being public land, not a place where that you can actually go. And I got a post on the screen right now where on Reddit somebody was asking to list areas that were off limits to the public. And I don't know if anybody in our chat has been to the Grand Canyon, um, but there was videos of people saying they'd been turned around by armed guards, and even a conversation with those armed guards where NASA had they had said that the area was off limits because NASA use it. But the are also this other amazing thing. Obviously, you've got Skinwalker Ranch out there. There was a big Netflix series on that.
Hmm.
Um, uh, the billionaire had purchased that ranch, and then I don't know. There was a lot of drama revolving that series. I couldn't watch it too long. But one of the things I did find out was this GE Kingclad, who I've got on the screen right now, and he
Oh,
apparently
Kincaid. Yeah, GE
Kincaid,
Kincaid.
Kincaid,
Yeah.
Kingclad, King.
Hmm.
Yeah, my pronunciation. It's probably all wrong. He,
It's fine.
purportedly had documented finds of Egyptian treasures in a cave in the Grand Canyon.
Hmm.
Um, uh, uh, and it was all part of the Smithsonian Institute, but they deny even having knowledge of these people. Um, but what's even more interesting about the whole thing is that there are thousands of caves in the Grand Canyon, and they are largely unmapped. They are off limits to the public, all but one cave. I'm putting that on the screen right now. This is the only cave, if you go to the Grand Canyon, this is the only cave that you can actually access. All of the rest are off limits. They're not even mapped. It's quite the interesting story. Um, you can rent a room in this cave. There's a platform in there. You can, live like you're a caveman, I guess, if that's your thing. Um, but it's a popular cave, and again, I don't know if anybody watching has ever been to it, but this is the only cave you can go. The rest of them are off limits. In fact, even as I was researching more into this, the you can't even fly an aircraft under 300 feet in these areas that are off limits.
Yeah,
Uh,
under the guise that it is bad for the ambiance of the park, or under the discussion that it's not great for the national park experience. But there's only three national parks, correct? That they have a no fly over. Grand Canyon, Yosemite,
mhm.
and what's the other one? Let me look here. And the question is, well, why can you fly over all the other ones and not those three?
Right? If and just to throw out there, people rubbishing this conspiracy theory,
Yeah,
well, they don't do any favors. They don't do anything to dispel that. And sure, there are a lot of First Nations out there, um, and of course that land is off limits. It is here too in Canada, and it's to be expected. But not all of the land that is off limits is specifically designated as First Nations land. It's just simply not.
yeah.
Uh,
I was reading up too that there was a lot of in the early 1900s, a lot of miners were buying up land, allegedly. But there's no clear place I could find, and maybe somebody who's listening has it or somebody who's watching this in the future. There was no clear directory on who has those land titles now, because obviously that's over 100 years ago.
hmm
So unless people are passing those down, either some of those have lapsed or maybe did National Park Service absorb some of those through the federal government? Was it sold off? What I find interesting is, well, a lot of things. Um, but there was also, I'm just going to post some names here. Oh, it's not letting me post it in the chat. Let me try this. There's names in the Grand Canyon that reflect Egypt. There, I've posted some in the text. Osiris, Isis, Shiva, Horus, Tower of Set, Pyramids of Ra. So there are these names of Egypt reflected in the Grand Canyon. And then there's discussion online that NASA might have had rights to the interior of the pyramids
Correct.
and may have rights. Now, depending on ownership, people use the word ownership, and I think that's a tricky one. But having rights to these areas and why? Why would NASA, who's focused on space exploration, need the inside of a pyramid and areas of the Grand Canyon that are forbidden to the public?
Because you know what NASA stands for, not a space
Hmm.
agency.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
know.
it's a hidden concept, but we know that they've trained in and around that area for years. I mean, since the moon landings, they were training their astronauts in the Grand Canyon. I mean, and if there were these ancient finds that, how did you say his name? Kinclad?
Kincaid, I think.
Kincaid? This guy right
I see.
here that's
You
on your
know what?
screen?
Actually, now you have me guessing. Is it Kinclad? I thought it was Kincaid. I'll go back and look, but I see Renee Cruz posted in chat there that she believes it's a portal or Valley of the Kings.
it
Oh, or is she referencing those places? Let us know, Renee, in the comments. She mentions Göbekli Tepe, which is in Turkey.
you did a
But what I
video
find
on it.
really, yeah, one still one of the most fascinating places on the planet, in my opinion. Oh, your mic just went muted.
My mic did?
Could I get that? Yeah. Oh, now I can hear you.
Oh, you can. Technology. Gotta love it.
Technology. Yeah, no, I just find it interesting. So you've got, this space focused industry, some who allege that they've never landed on the moon. They work with Hollywood, but you have all these anomalies of even on the NASA site here. I'm just gonna
hmm
just gonna post it here. I've got a link, but it says that they here. Let me just post it. NASA's historic properties. Under the National Historic Preservation Act of the U.S., they define a historic property as buildings, structures, sites, objects, and districts that are listed on or eligible for listing on the National Register of Historic Places, and they have 400 archaeological sites and 400 historical buildings.
NASA?
NASA, it's on their website. I'm there now. I'm just trying to post it here. Bear with me. I'm having adult technical issues. Oh, no. I just saw what Renee wrote. Yes, that's funny. No alien StarCraft allowed.
Yeah, right. No
Unless it's
alien StarCraft
rebranded, of
allowed.
course.
Right, that's exactly that. That's it. And it's just it's so interesting. I mean, when you actually think about NASA, they
Hmm.
handed off they've handed off their space travel to private companies now. There's what,
Hmm.
three or four of them up there now. Of course, the most famous being Elon Musk's SpaceX.
Yep.
And then you got Jeff Bezos and his space endeavor, and then there's another couple of private companies. I mean, if you're a space agency, surely you want to
Hmm.
be controlling that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's been wholly successful. There has never been so many trips out of our atmosphere in the history of mankind. So it's been a very successful endeavor to do that. Um,
Hmm.
but at the same time, when the NASA is owning all of these archaeological digs, and there has to be a question. There's something more to our history here, and I think that ufologists and historians have surmised this throughout time immemorial, that
Yeah.
we were maybe something more, or maybe something controlled the human race before, and for some reason, whether that be a civil war on their own planet or just an extinction of the event of their species, there's definitely something more going on, and that's why, when somebody says, "Hey, these areas of the Grand Canyon are off limit," there's over 1,000 caves there, only, 300 had been even mapped, fewer inventoried, out of 1,000 caves. And then this guy, Kincaid, goes down there, finds Egyptian treasures, hieroglyphics, all of that stuff. And then if you buy into the theory that NASA owns the rights to the inside of the pyramids, you have to wonder if there's something more to it.
Hmm.
Uh, it may be a much more innocent, it may be a much more innocent explanation, and that's kind of where I got to with this video. And of course, that's one
Hmm.
of the that's one of the great things when we release these videos, is to go back and to actually talk about them. And with so much going on in the world right now, politically and militarily, like across the globe, it's nice to kind of stay off those topics and to really do this. But I think one of the things we're also one of the ways we're going to take the channel is we are going to report on some of these things that are going on live, and
Yeah.
uh, give
Well,
give
and
the best we can.
I'm stuck on NASA, Paul.
I know.
And
I mean,
and
they're
here's the thing,
an
it's a
enigma.
major, well, exactly, and they do operate in secrecy. How can you have 400 archaeological sites but not list them anywhere? Just a couple vague references like uh oh, some historic sites like a couple launch pads. Okay, well, you've got 475 historic sites that you're telling us about. How many are old launch pads?
Maybe it stands for National Archaeological Site Association or something. They literally own more archaeological sites than they do spacecraft at this point.
Well, have
And
you
if that
seen
doesn't blow your guys' mind, I don't know what will.
well, it's supposed to be at the cutting edge of things, right? So China's able to land on the dark side of the moon. We don't have access to that. India's active in the game, Japan's active in the game, and NASA is doing what? So there's such an interesting conversation. But have you seen the video of the old pre-computer vehicles stored at NASA?
Yes, I did see that video. I
Yeah,
did.
yeah,
The conspiracy behind that was they were, had them ready in case there was a nuclear EMP,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
interesting.
Why they would be preparing for that and why they couldn't just have them built. Honestly, you could have a manufacturing plant dedicated to creating 10,000 government cars that are EMP proof.
I don't care what anyone says. There's more than meets the eye when it comes
Oh,
to
yeah.
NASA. Did you see, you know what else is mind blowing right now when you actually look at our attempts to get to the moon? China is on the moon now. They just landed a spacecraft.
Yeah,
India landed a spacecraft. Japan have landed a spacecraft. Um,
yeah.
Russia tried to land a spacecraft. It
Mm,
crashed into the moon. America tried to land a spacecraft. It crashed into the moon. So you've got these two old space powers sending vehicles to the moon and crashing into it, and then you have the likes of India, China, and Japan successfully landing on the moon. Like,
yeah.
just
Something that was, purported to have occurred decades ago
right.
with no shadow microphone dipping into the feed, right? I Here's the thing. I am not a scientist. I love watching Neil deGrasse Tyson. He does this whole thing about, the moon landing, and obviously he's a, I think, a believer in the moon landing. I'm not to say it didn't occur, but I don't think the feed published was the official feed. That's my personal opinion. I've watched and rewatched so many videos on it, and I think, something happened. But here's the thing. Surely with our technology, who right now can look out at space and find those footprints?
I right. I mean, there might be something to it. Like, did we get to the moon? We got to remember what Buzz Aldrin said. He got on the medical channel and
Mm-hmm.
he told them they're
Oh,
here, they're
right.
watching us, they're on the crater watching
Yeah.
us, and
Mm-hmm.
that's written in history. There is no way that he can take those words back, although I think that he's tried. Um, it's
He's a curious fella.
well, I think they all are, but can you imagine going
You'd
out?
have to be.
One of the interesting things is that the majority of our astronauts, they go to space and they come back,
Mm.
and they may not have been religious on the way out there, but they sure are when they get back down here. Um,
Yeah, because consciousness is not an Earth creation.
hmm No.
I think the scientific probability, I've seen some people crunch the numbers, that consciousness and shared consciousness is organic to Earth alone. It's just not plausible. But somehow it's hard for people to believe in God and aliens. They'll believe in one or the other. There's an emerging group I've noticed over the past few years that allow the concept to say, if you let loose on your terms of what's out there, you'll realize the universe is teeming with consciousness and life. So
I,
the idea of disclosure really is some do I need somebody else to validate what I've already seen and experienced?
hmm No, I believe it.
Or is it simply there? And I happen to experience it. Whether I believe in it or not does not change whether or not something else is there.
Oh, no doubt. I
It
mean,
goes down the philosophy road, but yeah.
I don't think that there's a human on this planet that hasn't had an experience of some kind,
Hmm.
whether that be paranormal or alien. We all know our loved ones that have passed, and when we ask when
Yeah.
we ask for them to appear, and there's normally a pretty fair sign there that there's something else that's going on. I sit in the land of the Matrix, but hey, the month's here. I'm
Mm-hmm.
showing on the screen right now. We're seeing our mainstream media put out titles like, "Is that a surfboard? NASA catches UFO-like image near the moon." These are the
Mm.
titles, and you can the image is on the screen right now. This is what NASA caught after their spaceship failed to land on the moon properly. I think it fell over. I actually don't think America crashed
From
into the
shock?
moon. They're just shocked that they got
It's
to the
painted.
moon. Um,
Technological pass out.
but 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 this is the UFO image that they had purportedly captured right here
Hmm.
on the moon. But then
Yeah.
when you read deeper into these, when you read deeper into this, um, this is apparently this very UFO-shaped object, surfboard, whatever they want to call it. This apparently is the orbiter that Japan has out there, is what they call it. But we're seeing titles that are in our day would have been called complete clickbait, talking about NASA capturing a UFO. Well, you know what? We already know the government are capturing UFOs. They told us in Congress. They just didn't tell us, what it was about.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think I think this last video on NASA, and if you guys haven't seen it, I think that the last video on NASA was super interesting. I think it's something we're going to revisit time and time again, and maybe we'll have a look at some of the other archaeological sites that NASA owns. They literally own more archaeological sites than they do have spacecraft. So if that doesn't tell you that our friends at Never a Straight Answer, I mean, sorry, not a space agency, was that National Archaeological Society Association? I don't know. The the whole thing is up for debate. But we
Well, yeah, it's as if the conversation pre-COVID, when we had the channel active, before it was sabotaged, let's be honest, the conversation was let's get disclosure and acknowledge the things we've seen. Now it is the skies are flooded, the news is flooded. How do we start to pick apart what's actually happening in our skies?
well,
As you just showed in that news article,
and I
the
think one
challenge becomes how do we find out now?
that's right. And I think one of the worst things that ever happened to UFO sightings were drones.
Yeah. And with AI out there, it'll be really particularly challenging um, to look into things. But I think that's why we need to. And I think that's actually why people will also look more to history, because there will be evidence of things that pre-exist the altered reality. And that's why I'm excited to get into it. And I think my favorite part of the journey is the conversation, the curiosity, the wonder, and the people who are curious and full of wonder too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of whom leave comments or send us notes. And I want to thank everybody who's reached out to us and say, "Hey, what happened to you guys? Where are you? How you doing?" Saying hi.
Oh, hey, look
That
at
was
that.
really
Tim
nice.
Michaels is in the chat. Hey, Tim.
Oh yeah, Tim, long time no see.
Still one of our moderators.
Oh yeah, that's right. Tim, if people say bad words, you're allowed to say no, and that includes Paul.
Hey there,
Yeah.
Star Hunter. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's great seeing
Thanks.
yeah, you can moderate me. Can moderate me for sure. I need moderating. No, it's super interesting, and I think the mystery here is
Yeah.
definitely real. And until you can tell me why there is only literally one cave that is open to the public
Mm.
that's on the screen right now. Tell me why NASA own more archaeological dig sites than spacecraft, um, and
Yeah,
pretend
why is the space agency involved in managing archaeological and historical sites? Seems like outside of its purview.
it's totally outside of its purview. And the
Mm.
answer to that is because there is more that has happened here that's to do with visitors from outer space than there is orbiting the planet on a space station.
I think we'll have a lot to talk about because as soon as you and I start talking, I know we get excited because there's just so much to discuss. So even if things get flooded by AI and misinformation, and even if mainstream communication sources continue to pump out whatever they pump out, there will still be people who are curious about the world around them, what's in the rocks, what's in the historical rock record, what's in the sky, what's on the moon. And I think that's after thinking about it long and hard, Paul, when I thought, what can we contribute to the community when there's so many voices out there? My answer is to look at it with wonder and curiosity and to bring the stories together that are interesting.
And honesty, we don't know.
Yeah, and honesty. Yeah,
We
that's true.
we don't know.
Mm.
There are so
Yeah.
many talk shows out there that you can go and have a look up and
Yeah.
see what they're saying about NASA and the pyramids and the Grand Canyon, and it's going to be interesting to dig into some more of these archaeological sites in the future here that NASA
Yeah.
own. I didn't have to go too far on the NASA website to see a whole host of information on the pyramids, and you, as a ufologist, when you connect that to what other ufologists have been saying for years, which is that the
Hmm.
pyramids were potentially built by greater beings than ourselves, especially for the time.
Yeah.
It, it, it definitely begs to wonder. And then the information that you've dug up about the archaeological sites that they own, there is definitely something more. I don't know what it is. And hey, we might be wrong. And it may be
Mm.
nothing, but there's just too much. And the canyon being off limits because this guy right here on your picture inventoried and found hieroglyphics and artifacts, and yeah, there's more to it, and I'm definitely looking forward as we reopen up the channel and our videos to researching into all of the strange things that are going on around the world right now, not just alien UFO, but mysterious portals, and
Yeah.
I think
Oh, by
what
the way, speaking of portals, did you see that thing that I sent to you about someone who's interviewed some of the CERN staff, and they're talking about beings coming and going in and out of the portals? Some of
right.
the physicists were talking about that. Yeah.
I think that might be our next video on Sunday.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Well,
So
we'll have lots to talk about for sure.
yeah, we sure will, and then we'll follow it up with a another video to review it next week. But as far as the NASA video goes, and if you haven't
Hmm.
seen it, guys, go back and check it out. It's the last video out on our channel. That's what this whole chat is about.
Yeah.
As far as that video goes, I think we'll just say mystery unknown for now. But
Hmm.
definitely
And
there's
I
a
left them a
mystery.
little nugget in the chat as well. So if they want to go down a rabbit hole tonight with us, um, with the mummy cave, they can take a look at that, and definitely something I'll be looking into a little bit more.
Interesting. Oh, B is getting a quick wave at all of the people. Hi B, how's it going?
Bee being a dog,
B
not
is
a bee in a dog outfit.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She wanted to say hi to everyone. Okay, great. Well,
Yeah.
I think that wraps this up. Sunday there'll be another video out and another live chat the week after, and that's the way we're gonna play it. And we'll see where it goes. We'll see what the multiverse out there does for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
All
Take
right.
care. Thank
Yeah.
you everyone for
Yeah.
joining.
Thank you, everyone. Stay safe and keep your eyes to the sky.